Look, I appreciate what you're trying to do for your mother. But dreams don't come true without hard work.
I had a dream about you last night. It was really hot.
A Night in Heaven is a 1983 romantic drama film directed by John G. Avildsen that would be widely panned by critics, but would become a 1980s cult classic. In Titusville, Florida, Faye Hanlon, played by Lesley Ann Warren, is a teacher at the local community college. Faye's husband, Whitney, played by Robert Logan, is a rocket scientist who works at the Kennedy Space Center.
Hi! What are you doing home so early?
I thought you might want to play hooky.
I can't. I gotta give a final.
Hey, hooky's more fun than finals.
I can't. I'm sorry.
So am I.
In her class, a confident and cocky student named Rick Monroe, played by Christopher Atkins, makes a joke after a class presentation.
How did they know he was the composer?
Oh, well, when they opened the casket, he was decomposing. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Mr. Monroe,
Yes, ma'am.
you say what you say well, but you have nothing to say. You have a natural gift and you are constantly abusing it. Now, if you don't take yourself seriously, why should we?
But I do. I take myself very seriously.
Making your final exam into a joke is very serious too, Mr. Monroe.
Faye believes that Rick doesn't take his schoolwork seriously enough and decides to flunk him and make him take the course over again.
Listen, I'm really sorry.
Well, it's an F until you get your priorities in order.
I need that grade.
Well then, don't sabotage your preparation and get one, Mr. Monroe. You're very smart. Don't cheat yourself.
Rick is a 21-year-old charmer who often finds himself lucky with women, despite steadily dating local television commercial star Slick, played by Sandra Beale.
Did everything work okay? You got the vet! Did she want your autograph?
Oh, Slick, this is ace!
Is she another one of Mrs. Luchek's nieces from Texas?
You know, you're lucky.
With the big tits?
But you don't have to drive what you sell on TV. Not that those Datsuns are.
Why don't you just give me a break with the car routine?
Did you steal it?
I bought it, you fuckwad, and I came over here because I thought I'd give you a ride. But since you seem to be otherwise engaged...
Faye gets a visit from her sister Patsy, played by Deborah Rush. Visiting from Chicago, Illinois, Patsy decides to take her uptight sister out for a girls' night on the town.
No, don't open.
Okay.
Ready? One, two, three.
Open sesame.
Not bad for an old school marm. Oh my God.
You look like a hibiscus in bloom.
It's much better. I'm not going.
They wind up at a male strip club called Heaven, filled with horny women and male strippers.
Hey, aren't you that girl in that dumb TV commercial? No, I'm her brother.
Wow, sweet low, sweet Syria!
The show features a performer called Ricky the Rocket. Faye soon realizes that the Rocket is none other than her student, whom she just flunked.
I just flunked that kid! You just did what to that kid? I just flunked that kid in my class! What? You did what to that? You like what you see, now you're ready for more. Why did you flunk him? Oh,
Aroused, Faye returns home to find Whitney in bed. He informs her that he was laid off from his job with NASA. Faye tries to initiate sex with him, but is rebuffed.
Let's get some sleep.
I just thought you were feeling so sexy this morning.
I smell cigarettes.
I just don't understand you lately.
I got fired.
What?
I got fired.
The following day, Faye runs into Rick at a school function. He informs her that he dances to help pay for school and to help his mother make ends meet. He tells her that he hopes to get into the local hospitality business and asks her if he can please have another chance to pass the class.
Now, I was wondering if I could retake the final.
No, I can't do that.
What's 5 minutes to you if it's going to help out a lady who's been busting her buns over a hot grill all her life?
I'm not grading your mother's life. I'm grading your performance.
I thought you liked my performance.
As Faye begins to feel attraction towards Rick, she agrees to meet Patsy at her hotel near Orlando to go see a movie, but realizes that she has been deceived into another girls' night viewing of Ricky the Rocket.
Where's Patsy? Well, she didn't come with me, so she must be at the hotel. Great! Great! Great. Where are you going?
Oh, I just heard my sister got sick and I'll have to go see her.
Oh, she's going to be okay, isn't she?
She'll live.
What's the matter?
She has a stomach ache.
Well, I hope you come back later. What do you think?
Cramming for exams?
Patsy gets a call from her husband informing her that their daughter is sick and she has to return to Chicago. She tells Faye that she feels guilty because she had sex with a guy she met the night before. She then offers her already paid hotel room to Faye. Coincidentally, Rick's mother, played by Carrie Snodgrass, works in the same hotel, and while visiting her, Rick runs into Faye once again. Soon, their attraction for each other reaches an erotic breaking point. This movie was written by Joan Tewksbury. Tewksbury stated that she visited topless bars in Texas, Georgia, Florida, and New York as part of her research, and decided that a small town where there may be a particular kind of innocence would be the best setting for the story. She noticed that the women who attended male strip clubs in Orlando, Florida, tended to be sweet-natured and often pretty, and she treated the experience as a harmless diversion. This movie was directed by John G. Avildsen, who had found wide acclaim and won an Oscar for Best Director for the iconic 1976 film Rocky. During the opening credits, the decommissioned Saturn V launch tower is seen next to the vehicle assembly building. This is a rare film set very close to the Kennedy Space Center near Cape Canaveral, Florida. Filming began on January 19, 1983 in Orlando and Miami, Florida, and lasted until late March. The movie's title was originally Ladies' Night. Then it was changed to Heaven, the name of the club where Rick dances. Eventually, the movie was titled A Night in Heaven.
Hear the music. Feel the heat. When the feeling hit them, There was no place hotter than heaven. A Night in Heaven, rated R. Now playing at a selected theater near you.
Lesley Ann Warren got the role of Faye Hanlon, beating out John D. Avildsen's first choice Judith Ivey, as well as Carrie Snodgrass, who would then be cast as Rick's mother. In a 1983 interview, Christopher Atkins called his love scene with Lesley Ann Warren, quote, very erotic, end quote. For weeks, the then 22-year-old Atkins had been working with Lesley Ann Warren, who was 36 years old at the time. He said that he was urging her, an older woman, to fall in love with him, and the shock of it all seemed that it was working all too well. He said he wondered if what was happening in the scenes was just acting or not. Christopher Atkins thought about his then-girlfriend, the very cute young actress Cynthia Gibb, and he was glad that she wasn't on the set to witness his scenes with Lesley Ann Warren. When Christopher Atkins signed on to play Rick Monroe, there was no actual nudity written in the movie. They were shooting the scene where Lesley Ann Warren grabs at Christopher Atkins' balls. She rubs his crotch and pulls his pants down, and then the camera is supposed to move away. But that day, Christopher Atkins was accidentally not wearing any underwear, and his semi-erect penis popped out. It was only when the director sat down to edit that day's work that he noticed the unscripted occurrence. He thought it might add a new dimension to the scene and really show off the intimacy between the two lead actors, so he decided to keep it in. Unfortunately, Christopher Atkins was not informed about this, and he came to know only when he watched the pre-release, but by then nothing could be done, as movie prints had already been distributed to theaters. Thus, Christopher Atkins' penis is seen in the movie. A Night in Heaven was released into movie theaters on November 18, 1983, and grossed a total of $5.5 million on a budget of about $6 million. The movie broke even financially, but was panned by critics. Siskel and Ebert saw the attraction between the two lead actors, but thought that other plot points brought down the movie.
That was Christopher Atkins as the young man, and you might remember him from The Blue Lagoon, where he exhibited some of the same talents that he exhibits in this film. In A Night in Heaven, he does a pretty good job of playing the student, and the chemistry between him and Lesley Ann Warren really does work. But what is this movie about? There are all sorts of subplots dangling everywhere. For example, Warren's husband quits his job in the space program because he won't build missiles, but then he begins to feel insecure and sexually inadequate, and the Atkins character sometimes acts sincere, and sometimes he just acts like a stud on automatic. The movie keeps acting like it's about to make a serious statement, but only the sex scenes really work.
You're quite right. The relationship between the kid and the woman, it's very interesting and moving, and you feel for this repressed woman who wants to let herself go. And you sort of feel for the husband who's lost the job. But that side is really never developed. I don't know what this movie is about, actually.
Songwriter Jeff Berry was originally going to supply the musical score, but he was later replaced by composer Jan Hammer. Jan Hammer would have success with film and television scores throughout the 1980s and 1990s, including having a chart-topping hit with the theme from the NBC television series Miami Vice in 1985. Canadian musician Bryan Adams provides music on the soundtrack of this film, and it is really great. His song, The Best Is Yet to Come, is featured and used prominently in the middle of the movie. The song Heaven appeared on the soundtrack of this movie, played during the opening and closing credits. This was before the release of his album Reckless a year later in 1984. The song was recorded on June 6th and 7th, 1983 at the Power Station in New York City, was used in this movie, and then would become a worldwide hit in 1985. The song reached number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 charts in April of 1985. I found this movie to be somewhat of a surprise. I had heard of it when I was a young teenager, maybe around the year 2000, but there were certain films that I saw back then from the 1980s, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Porky's, but I never saw this movie. I just never got around to watching this. I finally saw this movie in April of 2020 during the early weeks of the coronavirus pandemic. I'm gonna be honest, I enjoyed this film. It was so unique. You have a setting on the east coast of Florida near Cape Canaveral. You have the pre-1986 Challenger disaster space shuttle culture. You have good-looking 1980s women. Lesley Ann Warren, I think, looks very attractive. And Christopher Atkins is just the very good-looking, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, all-American guy. You have this Jan Hammer score along with the Bryan Adams 1980s soundtrack. Bryan Adams was about to hit it huge with his 1984 album Reckless. Run to You, Somebody, Heaven, One Night Love Affair, Summer of '69. That entire album was filled with those smoky, sexy hit singles that would become dominant music of the 1980s. And this film uses some of his music as a precursor to that hit album. Not to mention that I think you have absolutely electric sexual tension and sexual chemistry between the two leads. Lesley Ann Warren has a real look of sexual curiosity on her face during the scenes. I mean, she looks like she's horny. And Christopher Atkins is just the all-American stud. I just found this film entertaining. I'm very close to giving this an 8-star rating. This is very, very close. Like Christopher Atkins' 1980 hit film, The Blue Lagoon, this is such a unique movie that you can see it one time and you'll never forget it. That's more than you can say about a lot of movies. I will go ahead and recommend the 1983 romantic drama film, A Night in Heaven.